Hello, my name is Alan.
And I'm Sarah.
And we'll be your host throughout this volume as we pick up where Volume 2 left off.
Although the information in this volume is useful in itself, if you haven't yet watched Volume 1 or 2, we suggest that you view it in its entirety before proceeding.
Since this volume builds on the information we've covered in previous volumes, we're going to assume that you're familiar with the material.
As the title of this volume suggests, we will be focusing on the dating process and what comes next.
At this point, you should be confident in your ability to find a woman you're interested in and approach her.
After approaching her, you should be able to read her body language and keep the conversation going. When you wrap up the conversation, you need to leave with her contact info in hand.
After that, planning an appropriate first date and asking her out on that date should be easy.
Let's take a look now at what comes next. The first date. If you've made it this far, you're doing very well.
Whether the girl you're on a first date with is someone you approached off the street in a Category 3 environment,
or if she's someone you were fixed up with by friends,
then the skills you'll learn in this chapter will prove invaluable. They apply to first dates across the board.
This date is unique, and that your goal here is not focused on what immediately happens following the date. You should be looking ahead, gathering information, and setting the tone that will help you on later dates.
For this reason, it's always wise to keep the first date short. You can accomplish the goals we'll outline, find out what you need to, and quit while you're ahead.
By keeping it short, you should also have her eagerly waiting for the next date.
As long as you do a good job. If the location for your first date is easily accessible, as it would be in most urban settings, then meeting her there is optimal.
However, if your first date is out of the way, something like miniature golf in the suburbs, then you should always pick her up.
In our first example, we'll take a look at Raul's date with Lisa at the coffee shop.
Hello? Hi. Yeah, I'm here. I'm in the back. Where are you? All right, cool. I'll look out for you. Okay, bye. There you are. Hi.
Hey,
Hi.
I love this place. It's so nice.
I know. I love it too. I come here like twice a week after work.
Cool. What are you reading?
This nothing. It's something for my job. It's boring stuff.
That's right. You're in politics.
That's right. I guess you could say that in some form or another.
Let's cut in here a moment and point out a few things.
First of all, take note on the location that Raul has chosen. It's very casual and inviting. The aesthetics were excellent, and Lisa was clearly impressed.
Meeting her in this type of environment has a positive effect on her perception of you before you've even uttered a single word.
The other thing to point out is that Raul was on time.
Well, he actually showed up early and brought something to occupy his time so he wouldn't just be sitting there.
Nobody ever looks good just sitting idly and waiting.
It also helps that the reading material he's brought makes him look good. It's definitely better than her joining him while he's in the middle of reading a comic book.
Not only that, having the magazine there gives him great conversation opportunities. All he has to do is open up to a page that he was reading and bring up the topic, as long as it's interesting.
He may not even need that, but at least he has the comfort of knowing that it's there in his arsenal of conversation topics.
The other thing to take note of was the way he greeted her.
Well, Raul's body language was excellent as he rose to kiss her on the cheek. This was the first physical contact of the date, and right from the start, too. We'll point out later how important physical contact is.
Raul was very enthusiastic and happy when he greeted her. Pay attention to his eye contact and that smile he gave her.
Okay, let's go back to the date.
Thanks.
Hey guys, what can I get you tonight?
Hi, a latte?
All right.
And I'll have an espresso.
All right, I'll be right back.
I have to tell you, that sweater looks amazing on you.
Thanks. You like it?
Definitely, it's hot.
Thanks.
So how's school going?
Oh, so much work. I have a paper due on Friday and it's driving me crazy.
What's your paper on?
It's for my civil procedure class. I have to research special pleading burdens and write a 20-page summary.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's a blast.
So what kind of law do you see yourself practicing?
I want to do something that matters, you know? I don't see myself climbing the corporate ladder.
I know exactly what you mean. A law degree is so much more flexible than people think. They think just because you got a law degree, you have to be a lawyer or take the bar. My friend right now, he has a degree in law and he's working for Greenpeace. He watches their back, keeps them out of trouble, things like that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, he gets to use what he learned, but at the same time, he's making a difference. I think there's enough ambulance chasers out there, you know that?
That's for sure.
Have you ever seen the commercial for Ratner and Bozer?
I love those guys. Can they be any cheesier?
We want to fight for you!
At school, we call them Ratner and Bozo.
Bozo, that's more fitting. So when's the semester over?
2 months, but I have spring break in 2 weeks.
Are you going anywhere exciting?
Not this time. I have way too much work. But for winter break, I went to Mexico.
Mexico? Where in Mexico?
Acapulco. Me and 2 girlfriends, we went and we had a blast. Have you ever been?
No, not to Acapulco. I was in Cabo last year.
Oh, it's so beautiful over there.
Yeah, the entire West Coast is beautiful. Do you like to travel?
I love to.
Me too. Luckily, my job takes me to South America all the time. I was in Brazil just about a few months ago.
Oh, I love that place. Were you in Rio?
Rio, San Paulo, all over.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I want to go there so bad. Tell me about Rio.
He threw the hook and she bit.
Well, let's take it from the top and get to that in a minute. After the waitress took their order, Raul started the conversation with a compliment.
A safe one, too, complimenting her on her choice of clothing.
He then goes on to ask her an open-ended question about what's going on in her life, something he knows he'll get a definite response to, how things are going in school.
After she tells him about her assignment, he's quick to segue into another topic since he doesn't know anything about civil procedure. That's a dead end.
His choice of a new topic is excellent. By asking her what kind of law she wants to practice, he knows that he will gain valuable information about who she is and what makes her tick.
He's then quick to agree with her and show her that he can relate to the way that she feels. It also helps that he is a good example of someone who's similar that he knows.
And that shows her that he's someone who can understand her, a crucial common bond.
Raul then sees an opening and shifts gears into a more humorous-related topic. He can tell from Lisa's reactions that she's interested in him.
That's right. During your first interaction or your first date, you may be asking yourself, when did I become so funny? If a girl is enthusiastically laughing at your jokes, it's pretty safe to assume she likes you.
And what comes next is a 100% affirmation of her attraction and interest in him.
Sarah's referring to the way that Lisa casually touches Raul's hand while she's laughing. As we mentioned earlier, making casual physical contact with a girl is very important.
But if she initiates the contact, it's a sure sign that she's interested in you. Among casual touching of the hands is the most personal and suggestive.
Physical contact at this point is so important for 2 reasons. The first is that contact between a man and a woman triggers the release of a specialized hormone.
This hormone also makes a woman feel good about the person who's touching her, in this case, you. It also promotes a desire to touch and to be touched.
The hormone also plays a large role in human sexuality as well. Higher levels can lead to an increased sex drive in both men and women.
The second reason making casual contact is so important is it will get her used to you touching her,
thereby setting a precedent and making it easier for you to advance later on.
The next thing that Raul did was to steer the conversation in another direction after they had taken a break from what they were currently discussing.
There are several topics guaranteed to help you learn about her. These topics include getting a girl to talk about her friends or her siblings if she has any,
talking to her about what she likes to do in her free time, and also talking to her about traveling.
In this case, Raul is shooting for the travel conversation. Now, he doesn't know yet if this is of any interest to Lisa, but there's only one way to find out.
He uses a simple question about her spring break to push the conversation in that direction.
Oh, and then he gets lucky and hits the jackpot when he brings up his trip to Brazil.
The conversation should be smooth sailing from here on out.
Let's jump to the end of the date, which lasted a little over 50 minutes, and see how he wraps it up.
I guess you're right. I never looked at it like that.
Yeah, well, either way you look at it, it works out great. Wow, look what time it is. I hate to do this, but I promised my friend I'd help him move some stuff, so I gotta run.
That's okay. I gotta study anyway.
No, I got it. Don't worry about it.
Thanks.
So, can I walk you to your car?
Absolutely. Thanks for the coffee. I had a great time.
Don't mention it. I had a good time, too. Hey, there's this Brazilian movie playing on Lincoln Road. I think you'd love it. What do you say we go check it out Friday after your paper's all wrapped up?
Sounds good. What movie?
It's called Forbidden City. It's this story about these favelas in Rio. True story.
Good. I'll need a break after this hectic week.
Then we're all set. I'll give you a call Thursday?
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Well done.
Definitely. As you can see, Raul was the one who brought the date to an end. He was in control, and he gracefully ended the date when he had felt he had accomplished what he set out for.
And at the end of the date, Raul paid for the coffee. Although it wasn't a lot of money, Lisa could appreciate the gesture.
This is also why you shouldn't go overboard on the first date and make it very expensive. Later on in the relationship, it's not unusual for couples to split the bill. But early on, it's still good for the man to pick up the tab.
He then walks her to her car to say goodnight. At the car, he tells her he had a great time on the date. At the end of a date, it's very important to state your intentions to call her again. That is, of course, if you're still interested.
In Raul's case, he decided to ask her out on the second date right there.
The opportunity presented itself, and he was able to pick something that he knew would interest her based on the information he learned about her on their first date. He was very specific about their second date, which is always very important, just as important as it is when he asked her on their first date. Always be specific.
Raul asked her out on a weekend date, which is now acceptable. He'll be going into it with the goal of getting the first kiss.
And maybe more, depending on how the night goes. It's also okay that he asked her out to see a movie since they've already had their first date, and he can spend time with her after the movie, getting a drink or maybe some coffee.
As you'll see in the next first date example, it's very possible to get to the first kiss in this date. As always, this depends on your timing, the atmosphere, and your comfort level.
What do you think about that one?
I'm not so sure. It's a little dark, you know what I mean?
It's definitely darker than the rest of his pieces.
Look at this one. I love tigers. The brush strokes, they're so powerful.
That one really is amazing. You can really feel the passion the artist has.
I think you're right. It's like the artist had all of this lust built up and just unleashed it all over the canvas.
Imagine feeling that way about somebody. Feeling so strongly that you can't just express it to them, but you have to express it through a great piece of art, like this one.
It must be wonderful.
Well, this is certainly a different kind of first date.
But Jake is sticking to the goals that he needs to accomplish, and he also picked a nice and quiet place of specific interest to Lauren.
This place also happens to be more conducive to making that essential casual contact. It's more interactive than something like going out for coffee. Also, the environment makes a considerable contribution to the conversation.
Jake was on the lookout and saw an excellent opportunity to inject some romantic suggestions.
That's something important that we haven't covered yet. It's very helpful to help create a romantic atmosphere by making romantic suggestions or asking romantic questions.
This makes her think of romantic times in her life and subconsciously associates those feelings with you.
Now, it's important to be subtle about this and find natural ways to bring romantic topics into the conversation.
Look at this. This is so cute. I have one of these at home. It's a daffodil, though. Yeah, I like this better.
Wow, that is cute.
Come on, let's go look at the next painting.
Actually, you know, I only have another 30 minutes, but I know a really cute place around the corner. How about we grab a drink instead?
Okay.
So what should we toast to?
Good wine and good art. So Jake, tell me more about what you do.
Well, I graduated law school in 1998, and when I graduated, I got a number of different offers in corporate law, but they all seemed really boring to me. I was looking to do something a little bit more creative. A friend of mine mentioned getting into patent law.
In patent law, what's the creative aspect?
Well, rather than dealing with mergers and acquisitions, I work with inventors to help them protect their ideas. It's great because I meet a lot of brilliant people, and I see a lot of really neat ideas.
That sounds very interesting.
Jake is still on target. He's keeping the date short. And even though he's already hit the gallery, he's still just under an hour into the date.
Inviting her for a drink after the gallery was a good move. The place he took her to is romantic, they can converse comfortably, and the wine will help make things smoother.
That's something we haven't discussed yet either, but obviously it can play a very large role in many guys' interactions with women. Whether you're on a date or at a bar looking to meet a girl, alcohol can lower your inhibitions and make things easier.
You should be very careful to drink in moderation though. Never overdo it or the alcohol will be counterproductive. A couple of glasses of wine over dinner will be just fine. If you get too drunk, you could end up making a fool of yourself. Remember, you need to always stay in control and stay on top of your game.
Now back to Jake's date. Since this is their first date, they're still learning about each other, and as you can see, Lauren is making the effort to learn more about him.
Remember, it's not so much the details about things like what you do, it's more like how you present them and how you feel about them.
In reality, Jake's job is boring and he's sick of it, but he portrays it in a very positive and creative light.
You should always be upbeat about what you do. A man's job is a good part of his life. You don't want to sound negative about it because it can translate into sounding negative about yourself.
And women are always evaluating you as a potential boyfriend or husband, even if you're just interested in a short-term fling. Being confident and happy about your work is very attractive to women.
And then hopefully I'll be able to land a spot with a good pediatrics department.
Wow, that'd be great. I'd love the opportunity to work with children.
Really?
You know, I've had such a great night, but it's getting late and I really got to get going.
Yeah, me too.
Check, please. I had a wonderful time tonight.
Me too. Thanks for a wonderful evening. The gallery was perfect and so was the wine.
I'm glad to hear it. I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay. Good night.
Have a good night.
That's the perfect ending to a first date.
The wine set the right tone, and just before they got up, Jake made and held eye contact for a moment longer than was comfortable.
Now, we keep stressing the importance of eye contact. In this last example, his eye contact made his attraction to her clear.
Eye contact in itself strengthens the mutual feelings of attraction that they share.
Jake had picked her up for the date since there was a gallery that was out of the way. When he dropped her off, the goodnight kiss came very naturally.
At the end of the night, if you feel comfortable, go for it. You shouldn't have to ask. Just lean in and give her a kiss.
As you saw with Jake, he was very smooth about it. He didn't give her a very long kiss either because he knows he'll be seeing her again.
Now he has her eagerly waiting for more.
It goes without saying, kissing skills and styles vary from guy to guy. If you feel you're not the best kisser, you need to practice.
We'll be covering the first kiss in the next chapter, where you'll also learn that it's a good idea not to wait until the end of the date, as Jake just did.
That wraps up this chapter. Now for you, the obvious exercise is to go on those first dates with the women whose numbers you got in Chapter 6.
Hold off on that, though, until we've reviewed the material from the next chapter.
That's right. You want to be prepared for that first kiss before you take her out.
While you're on the date, remember all the things that we just pointed out, and you'll do just fine.
If things go well, you'll be ready to plan the second date, which we'll be covering in Chapter 11.
A guy should definitely be sincere. Actually, I think being funny to lighten things up, make me feel a little bit more comfortable would be good. He definitely shouldn't talk about himself the whole time, and shouldn't maybe bring up past relationships yet. That might scare off a girl or something like that.
I don't know. I think that if you just randomly met someone that you didn't know anything about, I'd be a little leery to go out on a date with them. I think that I definitely have to meet them in a public place, and I wouldn't want them to know where I lived or anything, because there's psychos out there, and you don't want to have to deal with that. So
a guy shouldn't be groping you on the first date or trying to make out with you on the first date. He should kind of just read off your vibes and see how much room you're giving him.
I definitely think that they should be, kind of polite and attentive and stuff like that. They should definitely take the time to really kind of listen to the girl, get to know her. I don't think ideally a guy on the first date should really be really aggressive and start maybe talking about his future plans, I want to have 6 kids and move to Oregon or whatever the case may be, because that can definitely be a little overwhelming. So
should pay definitely for dinner or whatever you're doing, any little, if you get ice cream, just something not the movies, ice cream or dinner or whatever. Shouldn't do just be on the phone a lot, I guess, maybe the cell phone. He should give all his attention to you. If it's the first date, he wants to make a good impression and make it he's really interested in you. So basically, give all his attention to you, not talk on the phone, and just being all about you.
Well, I had a really good night.
Yeah, thanks for dinner.
Anytime. We should do this again sometime.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. All right then. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
That's a shame. Max should have went in for the kiss.
This is one of those moments where you absolutely cannot hesitate.
When it comes to the first kiss, always try to be confident and spontaneous. No girl likes a kiss that seems planned out or even worse, forced.
That's why waiting until the end of the night isn't always a good idea. If you wait too long, it can become awkward when the two of you are wondering whether you should be kissing each other goodnight.
That being said, it's very likely that you'll be finding yourself in a situation where you'll be kissing her for the first time at the end of the night. So make the most of it and do it right.
Let's take another look at how Max should have handled the situation.
Well, I had a great time tonight. Thank you so much again for your help with the cake mix.
Yeah, I'm glad I could help out.
Well, let me give you a proper thank you. Well, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay, good night.
Good night.
That was better. Max leaned in and kissed Susan without hesitation.
And he found a comfortable way to lead into it.
As you saw, he tested out the water with a light, slow kiss to start, and once he saw that Susan was receptive, he continued with a more passionate kiss.
The kiss that Max gave her was similar to the goodnight kiss that Jake gave Lauren at the end of his date.
Remember, you shouldn't be focused on the first kiss during the first date. Your primary goal is to gather more information and make her want you more. However, if the moment is right and you feel comfortable, go for it.
Let's take a look at how Max could have approached that first kiss had he not waited until the end of the date.
So I figured by moving to Miami, I'm going to get to be on the beach all day. Listen, it's really noisy in here. Let's get out of here.
Okay.
Great. Oh my God, what a gorgeous night.
I know, it's nights like these that help me miss New York less.
Yeah. What?
I gotta go.
Did I do something wrong?
I just really have to go home.
Wait.
Max almost had it right, but he made that all too common mistake.
Before we cover his mistake, let's take a look at what he did correctly.
Max and Susan were at a bar having drinks where everything was going very well. Max was picking up cues that indicated she was very interested.
Cues like her gazing into his eyes and touching his arm.
Based on these signals, he felt that it was the natural time to give her that first kiss, but the environment wasn't very conducive.
Max made a great decision in asking her to leave the bar and go for a walk. In doing this, he sets up the right atmosphere to go in for the kiss.
This is where he gets himself into trouble. Max had everything lined up properly, but when he went in for the first kiss, he was way too aggressive.
When moving in for that first kiss, always use finesse. Remember, this is the first time you're kissing her and you should be careful not to be overly aggressive.
You need to feel her out. If your first kiss was well received, then it's okay to move on to a more passionate one. Remember, your goal here is to kiss her and leave her wanting more, not to grope her body.
There's plenty of time for that later. Now let's take a look at how it would have gone had he been less aggressive.
Here, sit down. It is so wonderful tonight, no?
I know, nights like these help me miss New York less.
I know exactly what you mean.
Much better. All it takes is finesse. Notice how Max put his hand on hers and then lined up his face. With the proper setup, a woman can instinctively anticipate and prepare for the kiss.
Max read the cues correctly both times, but the outcome was completely different the next time around.
Now let's take a look at how that first kiss may not always work out even when you do everything right.
Thanks for the coffee. I had a really good time.
Oh, don't mention it. I had a good time too. Hey, there's this new Brazilian movie playing on Lincoln Road. I'm sure you'd love it. What do you say we go check it out on Friday after you get all wrapped up with your paper?
Sounds great. What movie?
It's called Forbidden City. It's a true story about these favelas in Rio. You would love it.
I'll need a break after this hectic week anyway.
Cool, then I'll give you a call on Thursday.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry. You just caught me off guard.
No, it's my fault. I'll try not to catch you off guard in the future.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.
Raul handled the situation well. Although he didn't make any mistakes on the date, Lisa still rejected his kiss at the end of the night.
Just as we had explained in Chapter 2, Volume 1, you need to be able to handle and rationalize this kind of rejection.
Now, Raul didn't lose it. He kept his composure and went on as if nothing had happened. There could be countless reasons why Lisa didn't feel comfortable with the kiss.
Anything from cultural or religious pressure to just being very shy. Raul has no way of knowing her reason and shouldn't be discouraged. There will be plenty more opportunities.
If the first kiss didn't work out, it most likely means the timing wasn't right. Don't push the issue with her. She'll show you when she's comfortable.
Let's move on now and recap what we've covered in this chapter.
Well, the first thing is to avoid being too aggressive. It's always better to test the water with a slow kiss. There's always time for more aggressive kissing later.
2. The kiss has to come across as being spontaneous and unplanned. The key word here is natural. No woman likes to see the kiss coming a mile away.
3. Whenever possible, try to avoid waiting for the end of the date. Otherwise, the kiss may be expected or even seem obligatory.
4. If you find yourself in an environment that isn't conducive, such as a loud bar, take the initiative. Come up with a way to remove her from that environment and find a quiet, private, and romantic spot.
5. If the kiss doesn't work out as planned or she isn't receptive, don't assume that she isn't interested. You'll have another chance for the kiss later on. Try again when the timing is right. Don't push the issue with her. It will only make you both uncomfortable.
6. Pay very close attention to cues that let you know when you have a green light for the first kiss. These include the signs we discussed earlier, such as touching, solid eye contact, mirroring, and open, inviting body language.
Remember, if she's giving you signals and you miss them, you may have missed your opportunity. Oftentimes, a woman may feel that her interest is obvious and yet the guy won't respond.
In cases like these, she'll end up losing interest, and you don't want to be the guy that misses the boat.
Okay, now you're ready for your exercise. Get out there and go on that date, and don't put too much pressure on yourself regarding the first kiss.
If the opening is there, take it. If it's not, then just make sure to lay the groundwork for the next date where you'll have plenty of opportunities to make a move.
The guy should go in for the first kiss probably not typically at the end of the date, maybe a more spontaneous kiss, surprising.
It would probably have to depend on how well you knew the person. Like if you were friends for a while and then you went out like on the first official date, it would probably be fine. But again, if it seems like the date's not going so well, it's a little, indecisive of actually how it's going, I would say it's probably bad to kind of go in there for the first kiss. So I think it's one of those things that's different for each situation, and you just kind of have to play it by ear and see how the mood is.
I don't know. A lot of girls say don't kiss on the first date. I wouldn't make out with a guy on the first date. Maybe just like kiss on the lips, like pop kiss. Probably, like the end of the night, or it depends like on where you are. Not at the dinner table, but like, if you're like walking on the beach or something, just something romantic, natural, yeah.
I think you'll know the time is right by, body language. You can tell if a girl wants to kiss you or not. A girl will give signs. I think that if the date is just going horribly, then he's going to be able to tell not to go in for the first kiss. But
I definitely think like body language is key, and if not only if the girl is kind of like inching closer to him, if they're sitting like on a bench or in a booth or something like that, but also if she reaches for him to like touch him in some way, brush against him, anything like that, those types of signals. Where on the other hand, if the girl's trying to like move away from him and kind of avoid him, if he brushes her and she's like, oh, I would say those are probably signs that you shouldn't move in for the first kiss.
The first kiss should be, you can usually tell in a female's eyes, like when she wants to be kissed or not. Like it's just something about her body language. If she's like kind of close to you and looking in your eyes and everything like that, you can kind of usually tell that that's a go sign to go ahead and give a kiss.
Maybe staring in his eyes, like really like, having him know that you're really interested in him, like looking in his eyes and like talking to him.
No, never ask for the kiss because you kind of miss up the moment because you do like to be spontaneous, but you don't want to be too forceful or acting like that's all you want is to try to kiss and make out or try to sleep with her or whatnot.
No, he shouldn't ask if he should kiss you because it gets you nervous and it's like too prepared. I don't like prepared, like, you know, if he's gonna say, oh, can I kiss you? It's too planned out.
Personally, I wouldn't like if he asked. I think he should just do it. I think it's a given thing. I think that both people will know when the time is right, and I think it should just go for it.
I don't know. Asking, I could see where it's kind of like cute and, you know, nice, but at the same time, it might like ruin the mood or make it awkward. So I think it's one of those situations that you just have to, you know, like play by ear and see how it's going.
You are in for a real treat.
Oh, it looks so delicious.
It's an old secret family recipe. More wine?
Sure. It's perfect.
Well, thank you. Glad you like.
Ooh, I almost forgot to tell you. Guess who got a raise?
It's excellent. Congratulations to your raise.
Thank you.
So, were you expecting it?
No, that was the best part. My boss just called me into her office today after lunch and told me.
That is amazing. And from what little I know of you, doesn't surprise me.
In this chapter, we'll cover what we refer to as beyond the first date. This is basically the beginning of the relationship.
Now, we know that many of you cringe at the sound of that word, and we're not suggesting that you get into a relationship, although it is an option.
If your interest is short-term, then you may have gotten her into bed after the first date or even the night you met.
If these are your intentions, be very careful because the longer you're together, the more of a relationship it becomes and the harder it will be to break it off in the end.
Now, we just caught a glimpse of Jake's second date with Lauren. They hit it off after the first date and he kissed her goodnight. He is now beyond the first date.
Consequent dates at this point in the relationship will follow the guidelines that we present here. If you already went out on a date with a girl and didn't get as close as Jake and Lauren did, then you may not be past the lessons of the first date.
If that's the case, then your second date will be very similar to your first date. You need to accomplish everything we covered in the first date before moving on to this section.
As you saw from this example, the environment was much more special and romantic, whereas the first date was long enough just to get to know her better and for her to want to see you again. The following dates are going to need to be much longer.
Your goal at this point is to make a connection. You need to relate to her and let her talk about her feelings.
Now, I know most guys don't like to talk about their feelings, and the truth is, you don't have to. Just let her talk about her feelings and listen, and she'll be happy.
You also have to start giving her more meaningful compliments, not just telling her how good her shoes look. You have to start making her feel like you really care about her as a person.
Notice how Jake responded to the news about her raise. It gave him a perfect opportunity to give her a sincere compliment.
Also, pay attention to the environment he's created. Candlelight always helps set the mood.
And the light music in the background definitely added to it.
The next important thing at this point is to make frequent physical contact without overdoing it.
Notice how Jake leaned in and touched her arm with his hand when he brought the food to the table.
This subtle physical contact stimulates her and also gets her used to your touch.
So, all done?
Yeah.
Is something wrong?
Oh no, I was just thinking about Pepper.
Pepper, your dog?
Yeah. She's not doing very well. She's old and I don't really know what to do.
What do you mean? What to do about what?
Oh, well, I took her to the vet last week for her shots and he had mentioned that I might want to consider putting her to sleep.
No.
Yes, it's awful. I was so angry when he told me that, but the more I think of it, the more I think he may be right.
That's horrible. Why would you have to put her to sleep?
Well, she's got really bad arthritis, and it's getting really difficult for her to walk, so.
That's really awful. I had a dog when I was younger, but unfortunately she died unexpectedly, and we didn't have to make these tough choices. You know, some people just don't understand pets, especially dogs. They see them just as animals.
I don't know how people can think that way.
I don't know either. So what are you thinking?
Well, I'm thinking I might talk to my mom and see what her opinion is on the whole matter, but, you know, I really love Pepper, and I don't want to see her suffer, and I think it's only going to get worse, so.
I understand.
Notice Jake's reaction to Lauren's story about her dog. She's obviously upset, and Jake is mirroring her emotions.
By showing her that he can relate to her feelings and allowing her to let it out, he's building a connection.
And in order to connect, you need to share emotion. Lauren is sharing something very personal to her, and she's letting Jake be a part of it.
This has a profound effect on the relationship. The more of a connection they build, the more attracted she'll become to him and let him in.
Notice, too, that Jake didn't give her any advice on how to handle the situation.
Don't tell her what to do. It won't help your situation any. All you need to do is listen and just let her know that you understand the way she feels.
Some guys would listen to her go on about her dog and think to themselves, who cares?
Maybe he's acting and maybe he's genuine. Either way, it has the same result, just as long as she feels you're being genuine.
So remember, be sincere.
Let's take a look at the date now, further along after that conversation.
So there's one more bite, and it's all yours.
No, you have it. I'm full.
Let's share it then.
Okay. It's so good.
Aren't you glad you didn't pass that up? I'm gonna go to the kitchen and grab a glass of water. Would you like one?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me a second. Oh yeah, I picked up something for you this morning from the farmer's market.
Really? What?
Just a second. For you?
Oh.
I remembered after our first date how much you loved daffodils.
That is so sweet. This is just so thoughtful. I can't believe that you did all this.
Oh, it was nothing.
Looks like Jake may get lucky.
That was perfect. He did pack all of the right moves into one date. He even had a chocolate cake after dinner. Women love chocolate, even if they claim otherwise.
Well, chocolate has been regarded as an aphrodisiac since the time of the Aztecs. It's actually known to have certain chemicals that will make you feel good.
Notice how Jake even fed her the chocolate. Feeding a woman is an extremely intimate move.
And if that wasn't enough, Jake had the foresight to buy her a surprise gift. Women love surprises.
As long as they're good ones. Jake used information he gathered in the first date, the fact that Lauren loves sunflowers, to get her a gift he knew she would love.
Not only does she love it, but Jake was able to reinforce the impression that he is listening to what she has to say and always paying attention.
When she goes home, Lauren will now have something that will remind her of Jake. A gift doesn't have to be expensive or fancy. A simple gift goes a long way.
And as you saw, things at this point progressed naturally. Jake and Lauren may end up in bed, or they may not.
It's also very important that while Jake shows his sexual interest in her, he doesn't pressure her into doing anything.
And if she is interested and she's ready, they'll have sex.
If not, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future.
Let's take a look now at Raul's second date with Lisa.
I can't get over that movie. It was so powerful.
I told you you'd love it. It's a little hard to swallow, but I mean, it's reality.
My hands are still shaking.
You know, when I was in Rio, I actually went to the neighborhood where they filmed that film.
How was it?
Well, let me tell you, thank God I went in the daytime. If I had went at night, I might not be here. During the day, I guess it looks like any other inner city neighborhood. But at night, it's chaos. The gangs run the streets, the cops won't even go in there.
You guys.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you. This looks great.
I told you, they have the best crepes in town. Oh, you got a little something.
Thanks.
Don't mention it.
Raul and Lisa headed out for some dessert after watching the Brazilian film he had invited her to at the end of their first date.
It's important to point out the effect that adrenaline or excitement have on people's feelings of passion. When people are aroused, their feelings of attraction are naturally amplified.
You should try to create an atmosphere in which she can become emotionally aroused. This can be the result of a scary ride at an amusement park, for example.
Or like the intense film that they just watched.
Lisa was clearly moved by the movie that Raul picked out. This got her heart pumping and her adrenaline flowing. And although she may not realize it, any feelings of attraction she has towards Raul are intensified.
It may not always be possible to create the type of situation where she becomes aroused and adrenaline starts flowing. However, it doesn't take an extreme physical experience or a scary movie to get the job done.
Setting up an exciting surprise that builds anticipation will also do the trick. Okay, let's get back to the date and move ahead a little bit.
So, Raul, how come a guy like you is still single?
I don't know. I guess I just haven't found what I'm looking for yet.
I didn't tell you this before, but I just recently got out of a bad relationship.
What do you mean really bad?
John, my ex-boyfriend, we were together for 3 years. Sometimes he would be so great, and then other times, it was just bad. It took me a while to get over it.
How long ago did you guys break up?
A couple months.
Well, are you guys still talking?
No.
No.
That would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
The conversation is getting serious now. If you're like most guys, you have no desire to sit around talking to a girl about her past love life.
Even if you feel this way, if she does bring it up, it's a good sign, and you need to appear genuinely interested.
Well, remember, just like when Jake was listening to Laura talk about her dog, he was there to listen, but he didn't give her any advice on what to do.
Same thing in Raul's case. The way Lisa is opening up to Raul will help them make a stronger connection.
By sharing her feelings about her ex-boyfriend, she is letting go of him and in turn opening the door for Raul.
Notice how Raul asks very innocent questions about the topic. He's not being too aggressive or pushy. Let her set the tone and let out whatever she's comfortable with.
It's also very important that you don't speak negatively of her ex, no matter how tempting it is.
Okay, let's jump ahead to the end of the date and see how he wraps it up.
I had such a good time tonight. And that walk through the marina was beautiful.
Me too. It reminds me of when I was a kid.
Oh yeah? How so?
My dad used to have a sailboat when I was a kid. We spent summers on the lake.
That's nice.
So it's funny how we met near the store.
Yeah, I'm really happy I went over there and talked to you.
Me too.
Listen, I don't want to catch you off guard this time.
Would you like to come in?
I'd love to.
Raul's right on track. He offered to walk Lisa home after the dessert. And of course, it doesn't hurt that the scene was so romantic.
He also learned something very interesting about her, the great memories she has of sailing when she was a child. He can use this knowledge in the future to plan the perfect date, a day of sailing in the bay.
Remember how Lisa wasn't ready for the kiss after their first date? Well, now he's received all the signals. Her adrenaline was heightened after the movie. She shared very personal information with him afterwards that helped them connect, and now they're holding hands.
Even so, when Raul goes to kiss her, he doesn't make the same mistake twice. He already knows that she's either shy or may not be ready, so he announces his intentions to kiss her in an indirect manner.
Remember, never ask to kiss her. It'll ruin the moment. An alternative to this would be to let your intentions be known without asking for permission, just like Raul did.
Okay, now let's turn our attention over to Max's second date with Susan to illustrate another point.
Nice place.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about the mess. I've just been so busy.
Yeah, I know too.
Please take a seat. Listen, I'm gonna run to the bathroom for just 1 sec, so make yourself at home.
Do you have any wine?
No wine, but I have a few cold ones in the fridge. Please help yourself.
Where's the bottle opener?
Oh, it's over there somewhere on the counter.
I hate to say it, but I think Max just killed the mood.
No matter how much of a slob you are, if there's even a remote chance that you'll be bringing a woman over, you need to clean up.
You'll find women that are slobs themselves from time to time, but that's the exception rather than the rule. What your home looks like is an extension of the kind of person you are.
You can be sure any girl you bring home will be making mental notes on her surroundings. Chances are she'll be checking out your fridge at some point.
You could see Susan's automatic reaction to the place in the last example. Let's see how Susan would react if she had walked into an immaculate apartment.
Wow, I love this place.
Oh, thanks.
What an amazing view.
Well, thanks. It took me a while to adjust because I was really scared of heights when I first moved in, but I'm starting to get used to it. Hold on, take a seat. I'll be back in just 1 second.
Thanks. Do you have anything to drink?
Actually, I just picked up this really good Merlot. I think you'd like it. Here, take a glass.
Thanks.
Sure.
Cheers.
To a great night.
Big difference.
Take it from me, it is amazing what a clean, well-lit apartment can do.
And if you're a slob, you can always regress once you've been with a girl for a while.
However, if you're in the beginning of your relationship and you're still trying to seduce her, you need to make that extra effort to keep your place tidy.
And it always helps to have a bottle of wine or champagne ready.
Now that Max has Susan over and the setting is just right, he's in the perfect position to progress.
Max did a good job of preparing by having the apartment clean and dimly lit. He should also be prepared in case things work out exactly as planned.
By that, Alan means that he should always have condoms on hand. Nothing ruins the mood quicker than having to interrupt what you're doing to go out and buy a pack.
Get in the habit of carrying at least one condom and having a pack at home. Otherwise, you may end up like this.
Did you find one yet?
Okay, let's review the points we've covered in this chapter.
1. Your follow-up dates don't need to be short. In fact, they should be long enough to make and strengthen that all-important connection.
2. Make a connection by matching her emotions. If she's happy, be sure to show her you're happy too. If she's upset, you should share in this too.
3. Try to create a situation in which there is a heightened state of arousal. This can be the result of anything from a big surprise to a movie, symphony, or a play that stirs her emotion.
4. Give her a gift of some sort. It doesn't have to be anything expensive as long as it's something that has meaning. This gift will go a long way and will be a constant reminder of you.
5. At this point, the compliments you give her should not be on trivial things like her clothing. You should be complimenting traits she has now that show that you care for her and are impressed by her as a person.
6. Make plenty of casual physical contact. At this point, your intentions are clear and it'll help make progression easier.
7. Test the waters. Don't force any sexual activity. You should be initiating, but make sure to feel it out slowly at first to see how receptive she is.
8. Always be prepared for the best case scenario. This includes making sure that your home is clean and properly set up for a romantic atmosphere, as well as making sure you have condoms on hand.
For this chapter, we want you to just keep on doing what you're doing.
Take the women you've been out with once on that second date and do your best to follow all the points that we've covered here.
Be sure, though, not to make yourself too available after the second or third date.
Well, that's only if you want to turn this into a serious or ongoing relationship. If that's the case, then definitely don't spend too much time with her.
Women love what they can't have, from jewelry to clothing, even men. If you want to drive her crazy and make her want you even more, at this point, be sure to spend just enough time with her.
This only applies to the early part of the relationship. Of course, once things get serious, this will all change.
I think that my idea of the perfect second date would probably be somewhere more fun, not so traditional like the first date, maybe, not like a restaurant atmosphere, something where you can actually find out more about his personality.
Second date could be something a little bit more personal. Maybe, you guys can order pizza and rent a DVD, something, a little bit more personal so that you don't have a big group around that you really get to find out about each other, because sometimes when you're in front of a whole bunch of different people, you get kind of embarrassed.
The perfect second date, that could be like a movie. Like go to the movies and then after maybe like get ice cream, like talk about like the movie, just more like social instead of like a more informal, like a more formal date, like the first date.
I
I guess for the second date, it would really depend on what happened on the first date. If we just went to dinner or if we're out to coffee or something like that, I definitely want to do something different. I wouldn't want to do the same thing. So if we went out to dinner, maybe this time we go to a movie or go to a show, go to a club. If we didn't go parasailing or skydiving or something adventurous, maybe try that on the second date. Maybe even if it's a comfortable situation, like getting together and like making dinner together, but just making sure that it's something different to kind of show that, you know, the guy and the girl are kind of diverse and can do and enjoy different things instead of doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah, but girls like to see it. You know, it's not so much just the actual, you know, saying I want to take you out or whatever. They like to feel it. They like to see it. Probably just like the first date, I'm sure is like gonna be really, you know, nervous and like uptight. The second date should just be like really casual. And if you are like compatible with him, then you guys should have a lot to talk about. Like probably more talking, like just laughing and stuff. Yeah.
The second date will probably be like a little bit more just comfortable, that you can actually just show your true colors rather than being on a podium or on a stage having to kind of perform.
I definitely think so, especially if it's a more intimate setting the second time, you know, and if it's going well. Because most of the time, if people are willing to go out on a second date, they obviously enjoy themselves the first time. So I think that kind of gives it a more go-ahead versus on the first date where it might be a little, you know, unsure of how the date's going. So the second date's probably a better time to actually go in for a first kiss.
By the second date, I think he should make some kind of move. If it's not a kiss, if it could be something, at least to show the girl that he's interested. I think so. If it's a second date, then probably. I don't know about like making out, but just definitely like a little kiss.
It's really hard to say because, I mean, despite true to like theories saying that, you know, you shouldn't kiss on the first date, sometimes you may meet somebody that you just really instantly connect to. And if you both can tell that that's something that you want to do, then why not? Because tomorrow is never guaranteed.
Well, this concludes the final volume in our series.
So, what happens next?
Well, if you've made it this far, you should be well on your way to a solid future in meeting, dating, and seducing the woman of your choice.
Remember, if you have any problems with certain topics, we encourage that you go back and review them. This series isn't meant to just be watched through once.
Rather, it should be a resource that you can always refer back to.
You may have questions about topics that we haven't covered. Topics like how to be a better lover or how to take the relationship to the next level.
If that's the case, you should refer to our website for up-to-the-minute information and resources.
We'll also be producing new videos targeting specific topics in the future, so be sure to check our website often.
Thanks for watching.